Mm, And we're live.
Yay!
I'm so excited. Let me go and open up our
I want to go check it out on your channel so we can see what it. Oh, there it is. It popped right on up.
Yeah. Open up our drink.
I want to go check it out on your channel so we can see what. Playback. Oh, there it is.
I had to mute it. I was like, oh no.
I know.
Okay, so like how many people am I gonna wait to get in before we start having
We got 4 people. We got 4 people. Hey, 4 people.
Hi, 4 people.
Hey, 4 people. Hey, 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 hey. Okay, now we got 3. Oh, now we got 2.
Are the 2 just us?
Maybe.
What happened? Did we say hi too fervently?
I think so. I think we scared them off.
Also, being in a hotel reminded me that I don't need cable.
You don't.
I
can't remember the last time I utilized cable, honestly.
Right. I'm scrolling through. I'm like, I wish I would have bought my Fire Stick instead.
Exactly.
So now
I'm going to go ahead and share the link to our live on my channel.
Cool.
Just in case nobody knows from my channel that I'm live on your channel, which they probably don't.
Yeah, you know.
I'm excited though. I'm excited to discuss all the things.
Basically, it's like I've been waiting to have this chat for a while now.
We really have, and it just hasn't seemed to work out for whatever reason on the various days.
Because life is trying to beat us all up at the same time.
Yeah, and you know, I heard that it was like Mercury something retrograde or something.
Oh yeah, it's Mercury retrograde. That's why I'm experiencing everything that I'm experiencing. It's always travel related.
Yeah.
I was like, good God, I promise you, if I get back to my hotel, I won't leave my hotel for the rest of the night.
I mean, the travel situations that you've experienced today, I would not wish on my worst enemy. I'm just kind of like, what is going on?
Right. Oh, we have 4 people. Hi, 2 other people.
Hilarious.
Wait, it dropped right down to 2. Did this again.
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
A lot of people tend to catch these on the playback.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So, shall we begin?
Yep. I don't know which one to start with more because you know that they just announced also that the next 007 is about to be a Black woman as well.
I don't like it.
I don't like the James Bond series, period. So,
well, I've been kind of watching a lot of videos. Well, I've been watching her for years, but her name is Chrissy.
Okay.
And she has a colorism channel here on YouTube, and she talks a lot about Black female promotion, especially dark-skinned female promotion. She's really big on that. And ever since I started watching her channel, I've learned a lot, and it's just really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And lately, she's been talking a lot about this agenda to masculinize the dark-skinned Black woman and how it keeps happening, and how we keep having, like, when dark-skinned females are represented in media and in films and in Hollywood, they're always negative representations. Like, we're always the ride or die chick that's looking frumpy in the movie, looking crazy, supporting a man, being there for him even though he's trash, or like we're being portrayed as super masculine, and we're not allowed to be feminine and soft, and we're not allowed to be like the heroines that are rescued, like other races of women are allowed to be feminine and soft and play these love interests. We're always like made it to be these stereotypes, like the strong Black woman who been through a lot of shit and just keeps on going, or like the warrior woman, or the mammy, or the maid.
Mammy.
Right. And so it's like you'll have the dark-skinned Black woman as like the mammy, the maid, the savior, and then you'll have like the light-skinned woman, the mixed woman, or the white woman as the soft feminine, desirable, beautiful one. And so it's been interesting watching her channel because it's just opened my eyes to a lot of it. And she's just like, it just feels like there's this weird agenda where, you know, they can't seem to find a dark-skinned Black woman to play like the soft feminine love interest, but they sure enough can find us to play the warrior, the mistress, the
About that.
mammy, the maid.
I'm gonna eat on that because
Yeah, no, her channel has been like amazing. Like I've learned so much ever since I've started watching her. And I've been watching her for a couple years now, but I've just learned a lot, and it's just opened my eyes a lot to like colorism and the different ways that it manifests in media. And she does have she has a magazine called DDS, and she has like an Instagram page, and she has an actual physical magazine. So she does a lot of work to promote dark-skinned females and to promote them in a more positive and to kind of equalize the promotion out there. She's not saying that like, oh, we should be the most represented. She's just saying at least have it be equal.
Right. Like our representation can be as vast as everybody else's.
Right. And it could be as desirable and as, you know, feminine as all these other races of women get to be feminine and soft and damsels in distress. And like we never do. And we're always portrayed as super masculine. And obviously these are going off of like very normative gender roles, but still.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
you know.
You don't like the double O? Ooh, wow. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Bone.
Well, it just made me roll my eyes because.
But how do you feel about Ariel then?
Ariel is actually a win for us. Like when I did my video on my channel, I saw a lot of people's comments that were like, oh, Disney's pandering, Disney's still racist, they're being fake woke, this, that, and the fifth. Oh, there's an agenda. They're trying to.
Totally a thing, but like Disney's gonna make coin, whatever.
Well, my thing is, Hollywood has realized that Black is in.
Yes.
Black culture is in, and that the Black dollar is powerful because they see how we came out to support Black Panther. They see how we came out to support Us with Jordan Peele. They see how we come out to support ourselves. And so they're like, oh, so they're okay, yeah, they're racist. That's never going to end, but they're looking at it from a money standpoint.
Right.
They're like, if we cast a Black Ariel, okay, yeah, she's talented. She has a gorgeous voice. She's a beautiful girl. She fits the part. But even more importantly, we know the Black community is going to come out to support. And look at what they did for Black Panther. Look what they did for Jordan Peele. Look what they did. You know what I'm saying? So that's where their mind is at. So there's that aspect of it. And like nobody's sitting here thinking that Disney has changed and that erases their racist history and like they're not pandering.
They finally recognize that we make money. Like we make money. Like it's like, oh, look, now Black is profitable.
Yes. That's exactly what I mean. A. B, like I said, I come from the theater world where non-traditional casting happens literally every day.
Right.
So I'm just kind of like, this isn't really a big deal.
I could have sworn that Keke Palmer was on Broadway as Cinderella.
Yes.
Toni Braxton was Belle.
Yes.
I'm like, the whole Hamilton cast.
Thank you. It's not that deep. Like, I'm just like, it's really not that deep. Like, this happens all the time. And because we live in such a PC culture now and everybody's so fake woke and everyone's so outraged over everything and everyone wants to go on Twitter and complain, this has become a big deal. I guarantee you if this has happened 5 to 7 years ago, nobody would have cared. And they would have just been like, oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
I mean, because I've also had the argument when it comes to especially like Disney movies and stuff, since they're doing all these remakes, my thing has always been if it doesn't change the story, then it doesn't matter what race he or she is.
I agree.
It's like they're not gonna, and I know there are a lot of arguments that were like, well, what about Tiana? You can't change Tiana's race because the reason why Tiana struggled was because she was a Black woman in the 1920s. You can't change that.
That's a huge part of the storyline.
Right. You can't change Mulan. You can't change Merida. You can't change Pocahontas.
Yes.
You can't change Jasmine. Like you cannot change any of them. So it's like,
because their culture and their ethnicity, their race is a huge part of their storyline. I mean, that in itself is unfortunate because it's sad that they're not allowed to exist outside of their race and their culture. Right. So that's unfortunate in itself. But at the same time, like these are the POC princesses that we have so far.
Right.
So it is what it is. And so for white people, or even I've even seen some Black people and other people of color come against the casting choice. It just seems like I've seen people say, well, I don't like it. I wish they would just create, you know, Black princesses or POC princesses and have new storylines. We all want that. We're all sick of these remakes. Nobody is a fan of these remakes. Nobody cares. Like, I still haven't seen Aladdin. Like, Beauty and the Beast was trash. I don't know why they picked Emma Watson. It was such trash. The Prince was trash. Gaston was the only relatable and most reliable character to the original, and I'm like, this is a shame. The Beast was trash. Emma Watson was trash. The whole cast was trash. I will fight anybody that tries to tell me otherwise. Emma Watson can't sing her way out of her paper bag.
When she hit that low note where it was supposed to be a high note, I was done. I was like, nope, I'm good. Thanks.
So Beauty and the Beast was ruined, and that's one of my favorite Disney movies. So that was unfortunate. So I'm just kind of like, these remakes are already terrible. I'm going to go see The Lion King, but I'm not expecting much.
I'm going to go see The Lion King because it's about to be an event. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's about to be a fun event.
It is.
So I'm there.
I'm kind of excited for Mulan because I saw the trailer and they're making it into the more of the original Mulan story, which is like a
okay. So
there isn't going to be singing, I don't think.
No, there's not going to be singing. There's not going to be Mushu, and there's not going to be Shang.
So I'm actually excited for that because I'm like, this is what I wish they would have done with the rest of the remakes. Like, don't just regurgitate the cartoon versions, the animated versions.
Originally, I was mad. I'm not even gonna lie. Originally, I was like, well, what's the point of calling it Mulan if you're not gonna give me at least Shang?
But it's the original Mulan.
Well, no, they did it. They're changing it because they're respecting the Chinese culture. So I'm like, well, I can't be mad at that.
No.
The only thing I didn't like was in the trailer, they made it seem like it made it seem like she went to war because her family found her a mate instead of her going to war for her dad. And I'm like, I feel like that part is still kept. Because to me, going to war because you're being forced to marry has a different merit than I'm going to war to save my father.
Yeah, that's a whole different storyline.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't really know, but I mean, it was one preview and they showed a lot. I am confused for two things. One, the Hans look real pretty.
The who?
The Hans, the ones that they're fighting.
Oh, the Hans.
They look real pretty in the trailer, and I was like, this ain't what they look at all. And then two,
this is also Hollywood. Everyone's pretty.
Right. But she was like in the battlefield. Everybody else has got armor on and she's just got like a red like cloak thing on. And I'm like, so girl, you act like an arrow can't just come through you too? Like, is there something we know here?
That's like that sexualization side.
Yeah, I was like, why? She could still be in armor. I don't understand why they had her out here in this red cloak in snow.
It doesn't surprise me, honestly.
From a battle.
I'm not surprised.
I was like, okay, all right, Disney. You do one thing well and then you mess up something else in the same clip. So
the same clip. Yeah, I mean, I've never been like a huge fan of Disney in the sense of like Disney. Obviously, I grew up on Disney movies, but once I became educated on what Disney has stood for and what they continue to stand for, even though I enjoy going to the parks, I'm not a stand for Disney like a lot of people are. Like the people who are like obsessed, and I just can't be a supporter of the things that they've done in the past and the things they continue to do and the way that they are literally monopolizing the planet. Scares the hell out of me. I find it to be really creepy and like no one's noticing it. And I feel like one day we're just going to wake up and it's going to be too late.
I feel like we noticed it. It's just that us mentioning it does nothing. Since
what can we do?
Property.
Right. So I just kind of take what they give us at face value. And I don't think too deeply into it. At the end of the day, with the Ariel casting, this is going to change Holly Bailey's life. It's going to change the trajectory of her career. It's going to break down a lot of walls. It's going to open a lot of doors for other brown girls and other Black girls who are going to grow up and be able to see themselves as these characters that they've been told that they could never be. And I think that that's really inspiring. And so I feel like this is good for her as an actress and also good for the culture and also good for like Hollywood in the sense that she's creating a new lane that other girls can come behind her, and that's really good. And now other directors will be more brave and more willing to step outside the box. So I'm like, that's good. So I think of it from that perspective. I'm not about to sit here and be like, oh, they're pandering, and oh, why can't they just create other Black princesses? They're not going to, guys.
Yeah, it's not that serious. I'm like, let it go, people. Let it go. If you want to watch it, go watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't go watch it. That's it.
Exactly. And if you want people to create stories with Black princesses, then support Black animators and support like small studios and small creators that are trying to come up. No, they're not Disney, but there are a lot of like animators that are doing that already, and they just don't get the support and the recognition, and they don't get the spotlight. Like, they're hidden away and they don't have the money to market themselves, but you can still find them. I see them on Instagram all the time.
Yep.
Making their little movies and things like that. And so I'm just like, we're demanding all of this stuff from Disney that they're literally never going to do.
Never have to do it.
We have people that are already doing it, but we don't want to support them for whatever reason. Why? Because they're not Disney. Like, it goes down to the whole like, support Black creators, support Black fashion designers, support Black businesses, support, you know what I'm saying? Buy Black. Like, people want to complain about these big companies, and they want to complain about like Gucci being racist and Zara being racist and H&M being racist and Tommy Hilfiger and like all these other huge brands. And I'm just like, why don't you support the people that look like you, that are already making these things, making clothes and films and food and art and beauty and makeup? Like, support your own.
Right. Then you
stop complaining about people that are never going to change.
Yep. They know. I mean, honestly, Disney is every type of anti something.
They were every group at one point.
Right. And we expect them to be the people that are making that wave of change.
No, I can't.
That's an interesting question. What do people consider when watching movies and buying items? Quality, race, or creativity?
Creativity.
It depends on what I'm looking at. Like, if it's a movie, creativity.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's like a product that I'm using, like my skincare and stuff, then I'm looking at quality. Sometimes when I look for certain items, I actually go and say, hey, can I get this from a Black owned local small business before I go, to Amazon? Like, so I think it really depends on what the product that you're looking at is, because I go shop the small business markets on Saturday before I go to Target or Amazon or Walmart. And then movies is like, well, am I interested in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm always about like authenticity and supporting smaller creators, smaller businesses, even in some instances, regardless of race. I am very intentional about buying Black when I can, but at the same time, I always like to support small businesses, period, because I have a lot of friends who started a small business. I have a lot of friends across all races who started small businesses, and I like to support them. So it's kind of like, it's just become a habit over the years. Like, I see my friends working hard and grinding and trying to do the best that they can to like make it. And so that made me more aware of small businesses. And I'm like, small businesses actually have a lot of times more intentionality in what they're doing, better quality ingredients, higher levels of customer service. They care more because they're really trying to retain your business, because every person counts to them, as opposed to these corporations where you're just another number. You're just like, I really go after just like authenticity and good work, period.
Yeah. And also, I don't think you need, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name, but the question was asked, do you have extra income to support Black businesses? Like, I know that's a misconception that all small businesses are more expensive. And that's just not true. It's like, I just
go on Etsy.
Yeah. Well, even Etsy is one of those things where it's like, sometimes you find things. I mean, Etsy is tripping right now, so I actually recommend just going on to a lot of people are moving to their own standalone sites.
They are.
Etsy is tripping right now. Etsy wants us to, well, because I'm also a small business owner. So Etsy wants you to offer free shipping. And then if that's too much, offer free shipping over $35. And then they want you, their response to, well, what about the cost that that's going to put on, the business? Their response is raise your prices to compensate for the free shipping.
That's wild.
Right. So it's like, I'm going to lose all the customers I have if all of a sudden all of my stuff goes up.
Also, I've been shopping on Etsy for years and I have never minded paying shipping. Like it just comes with the territory. Like you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna pay shipping. I'm like, okay. I'm good.
Well, I mean, you're a Black businessman and 90% of your income is from white people. Well, also, I mean, where do you live? Where's your demographic? Like, what are you selling? Who are you marketing to? I think those are all factors you have to consider when you're looking at it, because again, for me personally, my major demographic is Black women, but I also purposely advertise in a bunch of Black women groups on Facebook and all that other stuff. So I know my main audience is them. And then I do branch out. I've started branching out. So now my demographic is changing. But yeah, I think it also depends where you are, what you're selling, and how you're marketing. Like,
so true.
I'm not an expert in this category. I just want to point that out, but that's just what I've been learning.
Yeah.
Because, man.
These are good points.
Yeah.
I'm petting Teddy over here. Anyone that cares. He hasn't been feeling well, so I'm babying him a little bit.
Oh, that's because you have somebody else in your life and he's looking at you like, why did you bring him here?
No, he actually has like a pretty deep scar that's healing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it happened. I don't know what happened. So I've just been like, he's been running like a little fever for like a few days. So I've just been giving him his medicine and kind of just like babying him a bit.
Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Teddy. I mean, that's why you're so quiet.
Yes, that is exactly why he's so quiet in this life.
Okay, so we're going to make a quick transition because we also need to talk about this HuffPost article.
I still have not read this article. I feel so bad because I made a whole video reacting to Naya's video.
Well, we can talk about Naya's video too.
Yeah, that would be a little bit more relevant to me because I even linked the HuffPost article in my video reacting to Naya's video, and I still have not read it, which is terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of bad. Wait, hold on. I have to answer this question first. It says, or Johnny says, well, is America really this culturally separated? I'm Canadian, and if I had a friend of any race actively supporting someone purely based on race, it would be regarded discriminatory.
That's a great question. Can I answer that?
You know what? Go ahead, because I was going to answer, go with it. You're better with words.
What's his name, Johnny?
Yes.
You know what, Johnny? We are that culturally separate. It is really unfortunate, but it's the truth. And anyone that tries to tell you that it's not the truth would be lying. Yes, America is like a melting pot in a sense. And like, especially if you go to certain hotspots, like for example, I lived in New York City for almost 10 years, and there isn't such a stark level of separation in the sense of you're conscious of it every single day. Like you walk around and you definitely feel other, because New York is such a conglomeration of so many different races, and everyone takes from other people. They talk about cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation, and in New York the lines definitely blur, because if you grow up, whether you grow up in Brooklyn or Harlem or somewhere in the Bronx or in Queens or on Staten Island or even in, like across the waters in New Jersey, there's so many different cultures living so close to one another that you can't help but start to mesh and like take things from other people and take things and kind of. So that's what I noticed when I lived in New York, is that yes, the separation is very clear. Like the Italians are very tight knit, like the New Yorkers, as we call them, Puerto Ricans are very tight knit. The Haitians are very tight knit. Like there are all these little pockets of different cultures that are very, very tight knit to their communities, but there's still this like melch and like coming together. But those are in the more urban areas. Like now I live in the South, and I grew up in this area, but I grew up in a Nigerian household, which again, my household is a very African. And growing up in an African household, you just don't see outside. Like, it's like having blinders on, because your parents are just very, very protective of you. And they're just kind of like, this is who we are. They instill a level of cultural appreciation for your culture and your ethnic group. And it's very hard to see outside of those blinders, because your family and your culture supersedes anything else, even American culture in a lot of ways. So then I moved to New York and I experienced that. And then I moved back to the South as an adult. And I have never been more aware of how other I am. And it's so crazy. Like, the microaggressions, the level of racism I experience every single day in customer service. So what happens is that it puts you on the defense at all times. And it's not something that, it's kind of like, it's not something that you would like. Because in a perfect world, you would never like to live on the defense. You would like to believe that everybody is equal and everyone sees everyone else as equal. You would like to believe that across the board, like, people accept one another and people don't see color and all the other bullshit. But what I've experienced in the South has really heightened for me how separate we are in America and how much people do support their own. It's just that it may be covert and it may not be very overt. But what happens is, when you are a Black American of any ethnic background, because they see us as all the same at the end of the day, you are always on the defense. So what that does is it causes you to become hyper aware of your otherness, and then that causes you to go out of your way to support other people that look like you, because you know the experience that they're living, that they're walking in every single day. You know the microaggressions that they're facing. You know sometimes the covert or maybe overt racism that they're facing. You know, like, that they're being attacked on all sides, from the media, at work, like walking down the street, the way that they're looked at in the stores, the way we're followed around in the stores. So many things on so many levels on a daily basis. And so I get what you're saying, that, like, you know, in Canada, if you were like, I support a white business or I support a Black business, can be looked at as racist or discriminatory. But because of the history of racism in this country, and the way that Blackness has been othered, and the way that Blackness has been demonized, and how we continue to walk around in these Black bodies, and how we continue to kind of like move in these spaces on survival mode at all times, it causes you to look out for other Black people. I'm going to support your business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go out of my way to do this, because we're all living the same shared trauma in a way, whether you're a descendant of chattel slavery or not. We're all living different variations of the same trauma. So that was a very long-winded answer, but I'm just trying to make him understand, because it's very hard to explain to someone who's not a person of color or even a Black person. It's very hard to explain unless you've lived it and experienced it, or you are very educated on the topic and you've done tons of research and things like that and read a lot of books. I'm done. Getting off my soapbox now.
Okay, well, I hope that answered it. I'm not even sure how to address these comments. I think I'm just going to have to pass them up, because that would start us on a whole different conversation, and we'll be here all night long. So we're going to go back to the Huffington Post. The Huffington Post article came out almost a month ago?
Yeah, it's about a month ago. Sorry, I'm like caught up in reading these comments.
Yeah. So Huffington Post came out with this article. It had Naya Reads and Smiles. Oh my gosh, what were the other?
India from Big Books and Hair.
Yes.
Oh
gosh, I forgot. No. And I actually watch her channel.
Are talking about the book hoarder? The book?
No, yeah. Was it Book Hoarder? I think it's the Book Hoarder. Okay, I think that's Book Hoarder. I think that's her name, but if I'm wrong, I'm definitely going to correct that, because, yeah. So they did an article with these three women, great women. They love reading like we do.
Her name is Kashan. I can't remember her channel name, but her name is Kashan.
Yes. But basically, the article brought up the same revolving question that has been brought up a lot in the past 2 years. And it is about representation in the booktube community. So I guess for those who don't know, because my channel is very eclectic, so I wouldn't necessarily call myself a booktuber, but There is a community
I
on
would.
there is a community on YouTube that focuses on just reading and even writing. But in this particular sector, there is an underrepresentation of people of color, and they've been posing the question of why, even though, oh my gosh, okay, I don't know who Vago is, but you got to chill, bro.
We'll get to your questions at the end.
Yeah, it's not even questions; it's just weird statements. The question was, for example, Michelle Obama wrote a book, fantastic book if you have not read it, and she did a fantastic panel. But the people that were chosen for the panel were Caucasian YouTubers. And the question was posed, why didn't they do a panel where it had like multiple races represented?
Wait, to be fair, Julesy did interview Michelle Obama.
Yes. I was gonna say before that even becomes a thing, like, keep in mind, Julesy definitely did, and I loved it watching her interview Michelle Obama.
I love her channel.
Me too.
She's fabulous.
But yeah, so basically the question still comes up. It's like, well, the reason that I even know OhSheReads is because she created a online book club that's called The Seat at the Table, where it's basically our answer to that question of, do we need more representation? Like, what can we do to get more Black YouTubers recognized? Or what can we do? What can we do to just be represented? And we were like, we don't need someone else to make space. Like, we're here. We're just like everybody else. So we're just going to do what we like to do. And if people like it, then they're going to like it. And if they don't, that's fine. It's not going to stop us from being who we are. And in a way, now that I've been thinking about it, I don't want to be recognized as a Black booktuber. Like, I want to
be recognized as a creator.
Like, I don't want my skin tone to be the determining factor for being open to these opportunities, because then it makes it seem like my actual ability is nothing.
It makes you feel like you're just there to fill the racial quota.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, that's not what I want. So when I read a part of the article and then I watched Naya's video, and I get what Naya is saying, that, representation does come from companies basically putting their faith in you.
Yes.
And
taking a chance on you, basically.
Right. And it's just like, I get that as well. But again, to be seen as marketable, you have to market yourself.
Yes.
So it's like, yes, we are underrepresented, but also we don't actually make up that much of the community anyway.
Yeah, we don't.
Like, I was looking at it and I was like,
we're growing, but
we are growing because more people are getting confident in being able to use their own voices to speak. So more and more people are showing up, which is fantastic. But it's like, I understand if from a business standpoint, I get it. If you don't want to step out there and take that risk as a business, can I blame you?
No.
So it's like, I read the article. I was like, I feel like this article should have came out a while ago.
It was initiated in 2017.
Yes.
It just wasn't published until like a month ago.
Yeah, I don't know what took them so long to get the article out, but I kind of feel like now it's falling on deaf ears.
A little bit.
Because it's like, okay. And also, to be clear, no, I'm not gonna say that. Okay. I'm trying to think. It's like, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to put it. It's like, I've always just been taught, if you want to make something happen if you want to do something, or if you want to make something happen, like, you do it.
Yes.
So you figure out what you need to do it, and you make it happen. So when I'm looking at it and they're like, oh, well, give us a list of, Black YouTubers or whatever. And it's like, no.
I'm done.
Like, it's like, well, did you like, because I have people that, they'll be like, oh, I found your channel because it was on the side, of another person's channel. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, welcome to the crew. And then other times it's like, oh, I just randomly found your page, like, on something. Like, that's amazing as well. I feel like I'm doing just fine where I am.
Yes.
My validity is not determined on those, like, those opportunities are not mine. They're theirs. And they deserve to have every opportunity that they get.
I definitely agree with you. I think that my biggest takeaway from her video was just that she has worked extremely hard, but at the same time, the door was open to her to give her a chance to work hard in the right spaces and in front of the right audiences in order to grow her platform. And I think that there's two ways that you can take this. You can either take it as being bitter because you're not given those same opportunities and those same chances, or you could take it as, okay, well, what can I do to maybe increase my chances of having that same type of opportunity? For Naya, I think for whatever reason, her channel just became visible to the right person at the right time. And that person had the power and the agency to give her the chance that, really she needed to get everything started. So it's kind of like when I stepped away from the video and I kind of digested it after my initial reaction, I was just kind of like, okay, well, this actually gives me in some way hope to continue doing what I'm doing and just to become more consistent. Like if I'm more consistent on my channel and I continue to make content that not only satisfies me, but is also meeting the demands of my audience, I don't see why I wouldn't eventually be given similar opportunities. Probably not the same opportunities because I don't think I'm as family friendly as Naya is, but similar. What?
You also don't read the same books as her, so you would be in a different space anyway.
Yes. So that was my takeaway from it. And also, it also continued to encourage me to continue to build our community here on BookTube, whatever that looks like. Because like you said, I don't just want to be known as a Black booktuber or a POC booktuber. But at the same time, that is the community that I would be a part of if someone were to look at BookTube as a whole. And I'm not ashamed of that. And I'm okay continuing to represent that in whatever ways that I can.
Yeah, it's like I want to be seen as a creator, and I just happen to be an amazing Black woman at the same time. It's like, plus, if you notice, like, because we even did kind of like an experiment. It's like when we do our live shows, our audience is getting bigger and bigger each time we do our live shows.
Yes.
So it's like, I truly think just work hard. It's like,
it's all about consistency. I mean, people hate that word.
Right.
But it's true. Like I notice when I upload more often, I get more engagement and I get more subscribers.
Exactly.
When I don't upload for months at a time, then people kind of forget that I'm there because
no one's all about if you're not putting out videos. That's just the way it works.
And also it's about even just the small things like having a clear camera. It doesn't have to be a great quality one, but it like clear so we can see you, we can hear you.
Terrible background noise in your video, like while you're talking. Like to me, actually, yeah, Johnny said a very good point.
What do you say?
Johnny said, I find that placing less emphasis on being different based on race and portraying yourself or business as culturally neutral allows people as well as businesses to integrate well with all races. And then he said, for example, please don't take offense. We honestly don't take offense too much on this. Don't worry, guys.
We don't.
I see you two as normal people. You're just Americans, could pass as Canadians. Cool. But if you were to talk like a hood rapper with slang, I might view you different.
Dead. I think I literally just choked on my pear juice, but
yeah.
I get what he's saying. And I think that what it is, okay. So for example, for me, when I first started BookTube, I never talked about race, never brought it up.
I was afraid to.
Didn't really discuss books by Black authors on my channel much outside of like the classics.
I only read what I thought would get views.
Yes. And then when that conversation came up again about, I think that conversation that always happens here, and I always avoided it like the plague, but I decided to join the conversation because it was talking about the Hate U Give movie set. And something about that conversation just really triggered me. And I was just like, I kind of have to say something at this point. Like, it's kind of like the elephant in the room. And I feel like I need to say something. And so that's when I joined the discussion. And then I kind of realized that I actually do enjoy talking about race on my channel in a very intellectual, introspective type of way. So it's like, if I can educate someone in some way by sharing my views, or have a healthy debate with someone by sharing my views, then I actually think that that's helpful. Yeah. And that contributes to the community in a way that is a little bit more beneficial than just ignoring it or acting like nothing's happening, because I also think that that is not the answer. So it's this fine line where I enjoy talking about race, and I enjoy talking about Black booktubers, and I enjoy talking about POC issues on my channel. Like when I did the Ariel video, when I talked about the Tati and James Charles scandal, when I like certain things I just enjoy, because I'm a huge watcher of commentary channels here on YouTube. So I can't help but also feel the urge to make commentary myself. I try to keep it booktube related, but it doesn't always happen.
Yeah. That's why I changed my channel, because I was like, I'm not going to be bound to just one thing. Because I originally used to just do makeup. And then when I wanted to actually talk, I felt like, I was like, well, I should just stay in my lane and mind my business. But this is super relevant to me.
Yes.
I shouldn't say it. And then I was like, screw that. Like, I'm going to talk about whatever I want. Why? Because
good for you.
It's mine. And if people, I also truly believe that if you do things on your channel that you actually like,
yes,
then people gravitate towards that, because it doesn't seem like it's just made to make money.
I agree.
So it's like, I love
forced or fake
lives. Like, I've never done a live before. This is my very first live on this channel. I've done plenty on yours.
I know.
This is my here. So it's like, I would have never done lives if I had not decided that having conversations is not wrong. How you have the conversation, what changes the narrative.
Yes.
So we're adults. We have great people in our chats. Like, everybody can. We haven't had anybody too crazy. So
far.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That one guy, I'm guessing, I don't know if it was the guy or not.
I don't know. Some of his questions are valid, and then other ones
Vago Megalitis. If a race granted you automatic popularity on YouTube, how would the best YouTuber creators, whoa, that went too fast. How would the best YouTube creators stand out? Not sure what that means.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, some of the questions, I think I understand the questions, but then some of them I need an elaboration, but then he jumps to another topic. So I'm just letting him ask his questions. And when one comes up that I can actually answer, then I'll answer it. But I appreciate you participating. But I'm trying to think what else. Oh, another thing is, I was talking to one of my friends. She is a non-POC, and she was asking me why didn't I feel that it wasn't racist for me to, because there's an event here, or an event in Houston called the Black Market.
Okay.
And basically what it is, it's on the first Fridays and second Saturdays, it's an event where small Black-owned businesses come to one location, and it's a big vendor event, basically. Like, they have food trucks, they have literally everything you could possibly imagine there. And it's just like a marketplace, but they're all Black-owned businesses. Now, is it all Black-owned? No, because I've seen other races there. But she was like, how is that not racist? Like, what if I would have had a white market? And I was like, why is it? Like, no one's saying that you have to create, like, no one is saying that we're doing this to exclude you. Like, we're doing this to highlight our own selves and kind of give ourselves a pat on the back. Like, look what you did.
Yeah.
It's like, I never know how to truly explain that question, because it's like, I'm not doing anything to be malicious.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
anything to hurt. Where the disconnect happens is that, especially, this is something that I've noticed, especially with the current generation now. And I'm trying to think of a way to say this. Because the millennial generation spans quite a large gap. So I guess I would say the younger millennials, and then what's the next step? Gen Z. I guess.
Yeah, Gen
The
Z
2000 babies.
after us, I think.
Yeah. So
They're the ones that were born like 2000. I think it was 2000 on is Generation Z.
okay.
I think they,
So
but who knows?
this is something that I've noticed a lot with the younger millennials and Gen Z is that they exist in a space of now. So whatever they say has no contextual connection to history. Because when you talk about the older millennials and up and the older generations, there is such a sense of history because we're not that far, like the older millennials and older generations before us are not that far from the civil rights movement, are not that far from having a grandmother or a great grandmother that was a maid or experienced Jim Crow and things like that. And so everything from older millennial up, there's such a contextual connection to history. I can only speak for American soil. I cannot speak for Black communities outside of America in terms of the Western world. I'm definitely not speaking on Africa on this, but this is something I've noticed as someone who is not, an American in the sense that I was not born here. I'm speaking from an outsider's perspective. So I've noticed like older millennials to generations above us, everything that's discussed has such a contextual grounding and foundation in what came before, and knowing that history and sometimes being so intimately connected to it that there's a certain way that we speak on things like this. And then you have Gen Z and the younger millennials, and they make statements like that. And there's such a disconnect. And it's like, oh, you guys have no clue. You guys have no idea that everything that happens is a reactionary. It's reactionary. Why is there a black market? Because these black businesses weren't allowed in the white corporations having their situations. And you know what I'm saying? It's a reaction. Yeah. It's a reaction to being left out. It's a reaction to not being considered. It's a reaction to not being seen. It's a reaction to not being acknowledged. And
come with me to the next one. So
yes. And so that's just something I've noticed because I'm just like, wow, this is not a question that like someone my age, and I'm in my 30s or older, would ask, because there's just an understanding there of like, yeah, I'm glad that you guys have your own thing going on. That's good. And then you have the younger generations, and in some ways it's good because they're so far from it that they don't really understand it and they can't fathom it. And they're just like, this is wrong. Like, this is discrimination against, and I'm just like, oh, you got to do a little bit more reading.
Yeah. I'm getting to her. I told her, I was like, just come to the event. You'll see. It's not what you're like. It's not what you're thinking. It's a pretty big community event in the area that it's in. And the area it's in is a very well gentrified area. So like, it's fun.
And usually it's not that like exclusionary. Like you said, there's people of other races there as well.
If you pay your fees to be a vendor or something, you show up. That's who it is.
Yeah.
So I just laugh. It's interesting to see because, again, I've been having a lot of these conversations lately, especially with the news or the news of these actresses taking these parts that are traditionally played by other people, and then the Huffington Post, and then just the whole conversation in general, especially even on YouTube, and I think in every YouTube community, just about.
I think whenever you have something that goes against the status quo, people become uncomfortable because, like I said before, it's not just like the majority population, like white or Caucasian people that have been uncomfortable. I've even seen some Black and other POC people uncomfortable as well. So I think whenever something challenges like the status quo, it challenges what is normal, quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
Anything that challenges our nostalgia too, because it's like, this is not what I remember from when I grew up, and like, this is not the image that I had in my mind. People always tend to get a little bit upset at that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, ironically, this is really all I had, all that I wanted to discuss.
Really? This is it?
Yeah, because those are the two things that was like, really, I was like, I really want to talk to people about this. I really want to see other people's thoughts. I will open up the comments for, does anybody have any other things they'd like to talk about? but you know.
I'm scared.
Me too.
It could go completely left.
Ooh, also, for those of you who are not aware, we do have a book club. It's A Seat at the Table. You can join it on Goodreads. Yeah, you can join it on Goodreads. And the book that we're reading this month. Oh my gosh. Oh wait, I still have it. Haha. I took it from the library before I left. So the book that we're reading is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds.
Wait, what did you say? I was too busy reading the comments. Wait, what?
Is this the book we're reading this month? I forgot. Opposite of Always?
Yes.
Okay.
Troy was so upset that this book won. I felt bad.
I just want, first of all, shout out to Troy, a bookish wallflower. She's not here.
Supposed to be here tonight.
But yeah, she and I both really wanted to read. I really wanted to read her book that was on the chosen one, but
we're still reading it.
Oh yeah, I know, but like I wanted
Black Queer Hoe.
I wanted to have it for the book club, but for some reason, every time you pick a book, it wins, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick a book one day.
I'm gonna sit the next one out.
No,
we y'all pick all three choices because I literally picked that on a whim. I was looking at the book and I really do not want to buy any more books this month. So what book do I already own that fits the criteria for the book club? And that was the book that stood out to me that wasn't already on my like TBR for the month. And so I just put it in and I'm so mad. I'm like, how did this win? How?
Also, Johnny Messi all day. Ronaldo is cool, but you know, Messi's a legend. He's a GOAT.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that just popped up. Robert Greene, The Laws of Human Nature. We can add this to our long list, but
I know we have such a long list.
Yeah, we have a long list of books. So basically, for those who don't know, the way that the book club runs, it's ran by the three of us. We each pick a book and then we put it up for vote on the Goodreads and let you guys pick of the three which one, and then that's the one we go with. And OhSheReads has the best luck, clearly, because
what's up with that?
I think actually since we've started this book club,
one book is always won.
All of your books have won. Actually, I'm trying to think. Has anybody? Well, we're not even going to say that was a win because we didn't even do a vote that month. Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and that was traumatizing.
That was a fail of epic.
Right, and that was my choice. If I were other people, I wouldn't pick mine either.
I don't know why. I feel like I picked the trendy books, if that makes sense.
Is this a trendy look?
I think it is.
I don't even know.
I pre-ordered it. And then all of a sudden I started seeing it. I pre-ordered it like it was one of my like anticipated reads of the year or whatever. So I had already pre-ordered it. And then I kept seeing it everywhere.
Hi, Troy. Troy said all of her books won. We never win. See?
Troy is here. I'm so excited.
Well, Vagomegalitis. We read for pleasure. Like we read, we learn. I mean, we're not saying that this is how you learn. I mean, that was a very interesting comment that you made. But our book club is just for us sharing our enjoyment of reading with other people and having discussions about them. If we put a book up, it wins. We have discussions. Do we always like the book that was chosen to read?
No,
not.
Not even close.
But we will read them.
I kind of wish that we had like gotten a chance to read Queenie because I'm like in the mood to read it. I might read it anyway on my own.
I think we just need to decide that Queenie is going to be the book for next month. Oh, the book this time is this one, Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds.
Although I do have a really good pick for August, but the book comes out in August, so I need to look and see what date it comes out and if it comes out in the beginning of the month or the end.
I feel like we should also, for August, we should do our live show in the middle of POC-a-thon.
I'm so hyped for that. I still haven't watched his video.
Yeah.
But I'm hyped.
Troy said she tried to put Queenie on multiple times.
Oh.
You can put Queenie on Queenie will be, because we've actually got a lot of people asking about Queenie as well.
We have.
Oh my gosh, MySpace, Jesus.
All I know is one of my best friends was reading Queenie a few months back, and she was listening to audiobook, and it was making her angry every day.
Wait.
What?
Okay, wait. Was it making her angry the way She Would Be King made angry, or was it
No.
making her angry because of the situations that were happening?
Yes. The decisions that Queenie was making was like killing her. Like she was just like, what is up with this chick?
Oh.
Like she would come into work and she'd be like, ah, like raging. And I'm just like,
But I actually kind of enjoy books like that because, you know, when you're reading a book and you can like actually, when you actually feel something for the book you're reading, I think it's well written.
I agree.
It's like these are
It made me more intrigued.
about her life.
It made me more intrigued. Speaking of reading a book that makes you enraged, I've started listening to so I'm trying to finish Again But Better because I want to do a formal review on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
Because in some ways I feel like it's unfair to review Zenith and not review Again But Better. Like I feel like that's not okay.
Agreed.
So I'm listening to the audiobook, and I must say I'm enjoying the audiobook way more than the actual book itself.
Is it because the character actually has a voice as opposed
Yes.
to creating the voice for her?
Yes. She feels more like a character in the audiobook, and also because the story is being read out loud, it's kind of like when you pick up a middle grade book. It's a middle grade book. It's not for you, but that doesn't mean it's not for your age bracket, but that doesn't mean you can't thoroughly enjoy it and be like, oh, I love this book.
Kim said, girl, Again But Better, that was a struggle.
Lord. So I recommend the audiobook. So I'm listening to the audiobook and I'm just like, you know what? This book is really for 12 to 14-year-olds, like strictly.
Oh, wow.
Strictly. And when you read it,
She was aiming towards.
girl, I mean, it's supposed to be new adult because she's in college, but it does not read like a new adult. It reads like a young adult and a very young adult.
Which age group is new adult? I always forget with these new names because as
College
far as
age.
college age is new
So
adult.
young adult is like 13 through 18, 17, 18. New adult is college years through like early 20s.
Okay. Also, we got another question from the YA Lifestyle. So, no offense to in the chat, but do y'all consider audiobooks as reading? And the answer to that is yes. Some people can't, like, some people cannot read normally. They struggle with regular reading, and audiobooks help them actually retain the information.
Yeah, like if you have dyslexia, or even like my best friend, she usually listens to audiobooks because she's in school. And so she spends a lot of her time reading these like really tedious textbooks, but she still wants to get her like reading for pleasure in, and she doesn't have time. So with audiobooks, she can read in her car, she can read while she's cleaning her house, she can read while she's working out, and she's still getting her reading in. And yet it's not feeling like just another chore because she's already reading all of these textbooks for school.
Yeah.
You have people who have dyslexia, you have people who you just have people who have a lot of different issues.
Yeah, audiobooks were made for, it was to help those people. So I consider however you get the information and you retain the information, like that's what I consider. Yeah. Also, me personally, I listen to audiobooks when I'm driving or when I'm riding or traveling in any vehicle, because anytime I try to read on a plane or a vehicle, I get car sick. I have no idea why. It's just one of those things. So today when I was on the plane, I was listening to Nevernight, which is interesting. But I also have the book, so I get to read it. I read it and then I mark where I'll stop, and then, I listen to the audiobook and then I go back and read it. So I'm a person that mixes it between both of them, depending on basically what I can do at the time.
Oh, in BookTube author news, I saw on her Instagram that Sasha's next book, which I guess she's writing by herself, was I don't know if it was picked up by a publisher or it's in final edits. Like I know she has an agent. So that's gonna be interesting.
Do we know what this book is potentially about? What genre? Do we know any of it?
So she has a whole Instagram page for her book. It's called Project Red at the moment, and it's about like it's a fantasy that takes place in Scotland. The main protagonist has fiery red hair, and she's like a warrior of some sort or something. I'm not 100% sure. I think there's a lot of action. It's a romance. It's like a heavy romance plot. She's teased a few things, but she said that it's for fans of people who like Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I can never say her last
My
name.
goal is to eventually conquer Outlander.
You know, I read Outlander when it was first being hyped way back in the mid to 2000. When did I read Outlander? 2006, 7, 8, one of them. I just picked it up on a whim in Barnes and Nobles because this was way before the TV show, way before the hype on BookTube. I guess it was just being critically acclaimed and it was literally everywhere. So I just picked it up out of curiosity when I was in college, and I made my way through the first book. I didn't really like it.
Well,
I
that
liked aspects of it. What?
I said, that genre is mine all day.
I know. I liked aspects of Outlander, but I found it to be morally disturbed me. I don't know how I feel about it now because obviously she's in love with her husband. It's like World War II times, and then she travels back in time and meets this like warrior and gets wrapped up in this like Scottish war. It's like during one of the Scottish rebellions. I can't remember. There's a lot of turmoil going on. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, and she gets wrapped up in this whole other world, and she falls in love with the whole other person. And I get it. She's back in time, but I'm that person that the whole book I'm thinking, but she's married.
Loyalty.
She's already married. What? And I'm like, Claire, what are we doing? I know it's for survival, Claire. What are we doing? I'm literally like freaking out the whole book. And then finally I just give in and I'm like, okay, I guess this is your life now. You're in love with Jamie.
Look, I know you think that doesn't sound interesting, but that makes me want to read it more. So
I actually think you would really like Outlander.
Like, I don't want to.
I've never read it before. Show, by the way.
You what?
I've never seen the TV show.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently learned that it was a TV show, and I was like, well, I don't really know. I'm gonna wait, but now I want to read the book.
I think you would like it.
Oh, was my camera shaking? Probably. Sorry, guys. I was bouncing while she was telling the story. YA Lifestyle says, I can't wait for Project Red as I am a huge Highlander fan and kind of consider that to be similar to Outlander. Okay, so Outlander and Highlander are not in the same series. I don't know why. I assumed those were in the same series.
I don't think so.
Good to know. Thank you, YA Lifestyle. I need to make a mental note that those are two separate things.
They are. I'm excited for Project Red because I'm excited to see what Sasha's writing is on her own. With the Zenith series, I think it was a duology. She wrote it with Lindsay Cummings, and so to me, that was a huge part of this. That was a huge proponent of my issue with Zenith, is that it definitely sounded like two distinct voices struggling to come together. And like, there are very few co-author partnerships that I've read that are just like seamless, like just perfection. I think it takes a certain level of alchemy and just like chemistry to make that work. So that was my main problem with Zenith. Like, I could probably have gotten over the plot, the cringy plot, a million characters, the phrases that were overused, the poor prose. Like, I could have gotten over a lot of things because I read a lot of self-published work that's not perfect. I could not get over those two struggling writer voices dueling it out. Like, I was just like, ah! So I'm curious to see what her by herself, what her writing style is and things like that. So
yeah, I'll definitely put it on reserve at the library.
I'll probably pre-order it, read it, do a review. I wouldn't. Am I excited? Curious. I'm curious.
I'm intrigued, I guess. I always look forward to, reading. Would I consider this her first? I'm going to consider this her first standalone book. Would I call it that?
Her first piece of work as by herself.
Right.
As a solo.
That means it's just her voice. Also, Troy said, I heard they said that they had different ideas when writing the same characters. And I was like, shouldn't y'all be in sync?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of booktubers, the bigger booktubers, are coming out with books in the next year or two. We have Sasha, then we have Naya Reads and Smiles is writing a book.
I know that Haley in Bookland just got an agent.
She did. So we'll probably see her book in the next year.
Right.
India from Big Books and Big Hair, her book comes out in November.
Yes, I look forward to that one.
I'm very excited for that. Yes. So I don't know. I'm loving this trend of booktubers publishing books. I think it's wonderful. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm excited to see like who else is going to come out with a book next. Like, I'm like, ooh, book watch.
OhSheReads.
I know. I really need to get my shit together, y'all. I just struggle a lot. I'm a perfectionist, A. B. I struggle with a lot of like, to be like more serious mental health issues, and that derails my writing. And then also fear of failure, not liking to be judged, being scared to query.
I just think that the only way you can get over these fears that you specified is to do it. Also, Kim, I hope you get an agent, because we also look forward to your book as well.
Yes.
Like all of you guys who are writers, it's so great to hear that you guys are writing your own stuff. I am not a writer. I am a full-blown reader only.
I'm done. Troy, when are you going to start your manuscript, huh?
Yeah. The Bookish Wallflower. When are you starting yours?
Crickets.
Do you want to answer the question of what is perfection? And if you had to be perfect, one thing in your life, what would it be?
You know what? That is a great question. Sorry, I just had to close my blinds. What is perfection? I honestly don't know. Ooh, this is hard. I feel like perfection is hard to achieve by yourself. I feel like you need a team of experts.
I don't believe in it.
You don't believe in it? You don't believe in it?
I don't believe true perfection exists. Be human, you cannot be perfect.
I don't know. I feel like it can be attained.
I feel like the way that you would think you obtained a perfection, and someone else would look at it and not think the same thing. There's no definitive definition of perfection.
I guess that's true.
Each person.
In my mind, there's like a certain thing that I'm going for, and I just continue to feel that I fall short, which is frustrating. I guess if I could be perfect at one thing, it would be, well, the obvious would be writing, but I actually enjoy the struggle a little bit. I feel like you enjoy things more when you work hard for them, so maybe not writing. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
That's hard. That's really difficult.
I mean, if I did achieve this perfection, then I would have nothing left to strive for.
That's so true. It'd make your life like completely worthless.
And very
well, you might as well die now.
Thanks, we're done.
Nothing left to achieve here.
Oh, Troy said, I perfect not being a lazy A.
You know what's interesting? I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and they were like, because I grew up in a time before social media, I know, the dark ages. And they were like, remember when we were kids and we would just be sitting in our room and we'd be bored? Like, you call your friends on a landline phone and they're not home, and their mom's like, sorry, she's not home, or she's on punishment, so you didn't got nobody to talk to. It's in your room. You got your CD player next to you, but you play the same 3 CDs a million times, and you don't have
those are the CDs your one friend made for everyone.
Yes, there's no YouTube, there's no Spotify, there's no Apple Music. So the CDs that you have, honey, that's the music you have access to. You got nothing more and nothing less. You've read all your books already because there's no Kindle, there's no ebooks, There's no e-library. If your parents can't drive you to the library to get new books, guess what? You're stuck with
no. Look, so when I was younger, because I'm a military brat, so I lived in Japan most of my childhood, and when we lived on one of the smaller bases, I was able to walk from my house to the library, and I would literally get up, be like, Mom, I'm walking to the library, because my parents would buy me books for Christmas and stuff, and before years, I would have read all of them.
Yes.
So, like, I would get in trouble. My parents were like, we are not buying you another book.
Me too.
Just take your time and enjoy them. And I was like, well, fine. I'm going to get my wagon and I'm going to go to the library.
I'm going to the library. I know. We went to the library every 2 weeks, like clockwork. By then, I would have read all the books. But I say all that to say, like, me and my friend were talking, we're like, remember, you would just be sitting in your room bored out of your mind. Like, we don't have phones, so we can't just scroll on Instagram mindlessly. We can't watch YouTube videos to pass the time. Like, we literally, when you have nothing to do back in the day, you had nothing to do. And she was just like, but remember how much, like, creativity that fueled? And, like, you would just be sitting there, and all of a sudden, you would just start writing a story. Or you would just start writing a song or drawing, or you would just start making a collage, or you would go outside and like build something. Like, your boredom fueled creativity. And so it actually made you not lazy, because when there's nothing left to do, you're like, okay, I'm going to clean my room. I'm going to move my room around. I'm going to make a collage. I'm going to write a song.
Or like, you remember how we didn't use the internet like that because nobody had time to deal with that AOL startup.
The dial-up. And plus, your parents would be like, no, I'm talking to your auntie, or I'm talking to my best friend. You can't get on AOL right now. Like, I need the phone line. You'd be like,
you would decorate your wall, not with subscription box prints, but you would decorate your wall with magazines.
Yes, cut out.
Word Up magazine.
Yes, Word Up magazine. And like, I just remember how creative I was as a prepubescent. Like, I was so creative, and it all came out of boredom. I was not lazy. I was not procrastinating. I was doing things. And then I think about that versus like who I am now, and how I am lazy, and how I do procrastinate, and how like I just sit on my phone or go on YouTube for hours. And I don't know. We had an interesting conversation about it, mostly because she's going on like a social media detox for like a year. So she like deleted all of her socials, and she's just like, she was like, I need to get back into a creative space. And she was like, I feel like social media is like stopping me from doing that. And I was like, girl, yes.
Yeah, I mean, now that I started, like, I have specific, now, words. Apple has that thing now where you can set the time for when you can use social media. I actively use that thing. And
oh my God, it's a real thing? Where do we find that?
What is it called?
Is it an app?
It's not even an app. It's just on one of the last updates.
My friend makes fun of me because I barely know how to use my phone. I'm literally like an old person with my phone. Like, I'm just like, wait, where's the wallet? Like, I'm like, where's my wallet?
You can go to, it's called Screen Time, and it shows you where you spend most of your time in your apps and stuff. And you can set app limits. Try it. Like, for a week, set where you can only spend like 6 hours a week on it, or pick a time, set your app limits. When you like, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to pick up my phone and be like, oh my gosh, I've already exceeded my limit.
Does it tell you
that? Like, it's amazing. I don't know. Also, we're in this time where you can track everything, and sometimes being able to track things is great, and sometimes being able to track things is not so great. Oh, goosebumps.
What?
I was reading comments. So Novelist Yen says, exactly, when I look at my story plots back then versus now, I'm like, what happened? I might as well rip myself off, but add my adult ideas. YA Lifestyle says, thankfully I had Goosebumps to read back then, and that was all I needed, honestly. Look,
Goosebumps was it.
Babysitter's Club.
Yes.
American
Girl doll books.
American Girl. And the Royal Diaries. Those were my like joints back then.
The Boxcar Children.
Oh yes, those two. Anything in the Scholastic book you got for the Scholastic Book Fair, anything in there was legit. Like, you remember
the Scholastic Book Fair every year at school was literally the highlight of my life in elementary school. Like, I'm going through the little catalog, marking off all the books that I want. I'm like, yes, I want this book and I want this book. And then my mom's there to bring me back to earth. Like, honey, you're only getting like 2 books, so you've marked like 8.
Like,
I don't know.
I remember the one book club where like they had it was basically a book subscription where you would get one Babysitter's Club book a month.
I had that.
I remember because I begged my parents. I was like, I
had that.
I will do everything. And that was one of the best things I got in the mail every month.
I have quite a healthy amount of Babysitter Club books, and I'm really sad because I ended up giving them away to like a family friend, and now I kind of wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I still had them. Sorry, I'm running low on battery, so I have to charge.
Yeah. Sorry guys. My lighting is getting bad because I'm actually on a work trip and hotel lighting is never great for
It's never the best.
also
I'm wearing my pajama pants. Don't judge me.
Hair and makeup on point, but I don't. Are we wearing makeup today? I'm not wearing makeup. No, I'm not.
I came from work, so this face is my work face.
This is a travel day. Like I'm actually gonna go put on a mask and stuff after this
Oh,
conversation.
that sounds nice.
Yeah. You know, get the moisture back in my face from being up in the air.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh my God, these comments are going so fast.
Yeah, speaking of Scholastics, the Stinky Cheese Man was my jam. Yo, I remember Stinky Cheese Man.
Wait, what is this?
Oh my gosh, you don't know the okay. Let me think of the best way. You know what? I'm just gonna show you a picture. If I show you a picture, you will know what I'm talking about.
Stinky Cheese Man. I'm so confused.
Oh my gosh. It was a lot of stupid things with Scholastic little pamphlet thing. And I also had an older brother. So
I gotta Google this because I'm really confused. The Puppers is back. Hi, Puppers. He took a little nap and now he's like, now I'm up again. And I'm like, because this is what he does all night and I'm sleep deprived. Someone please come and take him for the week so I can get 8 hours of sleep.
Wait for the whole week?
I'll miss him, but it's okay. Stinky Cheese Man.
Oh, Alicia, I understand that. Like, I put myself on a book buying hiatus. So basically, if I can't get it from the library or if I can't get it off of one of these free
the Stinky Cheese Man.
I can't do it. What happened?
I remember.
I was like, when you see the picture, you'll know.
That is funny.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God. Was that the scary stories to tell in the dark? Was that the one where they were all around the fire?
That was Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Okay. First of all, that was scary. The clown, I will never be okay with.
Do you know they're trying to remake that show? And they're remaking, they remade all that.
Look, that's not for us anymore. Remember, like this is somebody else. Let the kids enjoy their versions of all that and all that stuff that ain't got nothing to do with me. I will not be watching it. You will not destroy my love affair for the original all that.
I'm like, it's not going to be as good as, but okay.
Well, it's going to be good for the generation that it's anchored towards because we have no interest.
None. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not, it shouldn't even interest us anymore. It's like kid shows.
It's kid shows. Like the preview that they did for it, I was like, huh, okay, all right. Like, I felt nothing. So
I know.
Now I'm like, dang, I feel like we should have, like I told y'all, I really want us to create like a readathon from the book club but I haven't thought of a theme. Like, how cool would it be to make you go back, like do like a throwback readathon?
That sounds fabulous.
You could only read books that were big when you were a kid. Like you can't
read. I'm here for that readathon idea. Please do it.
I would have to think of how that worked and when it would be done because there's a lot of readathons happening. Speaking of which, is anybody participating in? It used to be called Booktubeathon, but what is it called now?
The Reading Rush. Not a huge fan of the name change.
Me neither. Is anybody participating in the Reading Rush?
I am, passively.
I wrote down the prompts, but I haven't actually looked at my bookshelf to see which books fit the prompts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think number 7 is read and watch a book adaptation. So I'm actually going to finally read To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Oh, you're gonna love it, or maybe you won't. I feel like I tell you you're gonna love things and then you hate them. So
Well, also keep in mind, I'm not a big romance person, so I have to really, try.
okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so I don't really know. I haven't done it. Troy says she's gonna do it in theory. I don't even know what that means.
Well, I did a summer TBR where I picked like 20 books that I want to read this summer, and then I just included 7 of the books I followed the reading rush prompts.
Yeah.
So when does that even start?
July 22nd.
Okay, good. I have some time.
Yeah, so I think that's next weekend or next week. Yeah, that's next Monday.
Okay, good.
I need to go ahead and like line it up mentally, but the one I'm obviously preparing for is the POC-a-thon because look, people are actually here for the throwback readathon. I'm
I'm here for it.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna try to come up with it. It might be in September or October. Well,
There's nothing like nostalgia.
yeah, I just got to come up with a cool name for it, and then we could all do it here, and that would be hilarious because some of the books I read as a kid, I know they were probably trash, and I still want to go back and read it just to see how much I still love it.
I know. I'm so mad I gave away my Babysitter's Club books. I want them back.
Yeah, actually, my mom,
because they changed the covers.
Yes, I noticed that. I don't like them. I have every single Royal Diaries book still because my mom had bought them in hardback. So when you open them, they still have like my little nameplate that my mom made for me when I was young.
That is so cute.
I was like, I'm keeping this. Yeah, Troy, we probably will call it the throwback-a-thon. But that also sounds like a twerking moment. But it's like
one of my favorite books for a while was this book, The Princess Diaries.
Oh, I love by Meg
Cabot.
Yes, loved it. Also love the movie.
Yes, the movie's so good. And it was like a whole series. I remember I read them all and it was like, oh, I was obsessed.
Right. And
I thought I was Mia Thermopolis. I was like, no, that's me.
Mia spoke to me on nerd languages that most people couldn't understand.
Yes.
I was like, this awkwardness speaks to my soul on a very level, and I feel seen. But it's okay. Mia gets a happy ending. Like, I'm totally gonna get one too.
Did you ever read that book? It was like Angus Thongs and let me see if I can find the title. They made it into a movie, which was kind of cringy, but let me see. It was a British book. Yeah, Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging. Do you remember that book?
Wow.
It was a British book and it was filled with so many cringy moments. Like the situations that she put herself in, I was like, girlfriend.
No. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
I remember how that book was like risque when I was reading it. It was like, ooh, I'm reading this book and it shouldn't be. Like
right.
That and the Gossip Girl books were very like, ooh.
Oh my gosh. So my mom,
but I am.
The Gossip Girl thing, my mom was like, nope.
I would sneak them. I would go to the library because my mom, in the summertime, my mom would drop us off in the library when it opened and then pick us up when it closed. We were those kids that like to be at the library all day in the summer. And so I would sneak reading the Gossip Girl books while I was at the library. My mom had no idea I was reading them. She would not have approved because those books were definitely very raunchy. And I'm like 12, 13, like devouring these books. And I'm like, ooh. I shouldn't be reading these.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, imagine it's like, oh no, like, oh, I was such a bad girl. Like, I read the Gossip Girl. I went off back.
And then when I was in college, I remember that's when the series came out on it was still known as the CW. And I was like, yes, I'm here for this. I'm all the way here.
Okay, so number one, we are seeing a lot of people down for this throwback-a-thon. Somebody even suggested an all that themed read along.
I like it.
You're right. November is nonfiction month. Is anything happening in September as far as reading goes?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm taking notes. My goal is to have this set up, and we will announce it during one of the lives.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Because
there are a lot of readathons going on right now, so we definitely should push it back. There's like POC-a-thon's about to start, the reading rush. And then did you know that Noria Reads is doing a fuck-a-thon?
No, please elaborate.
It's so up your alley. Okay, so let me just read some of the prompts because I actually posted it on my community tab when I finally found out about it. She did the announcement video a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, how did I not know about this? It's literally the most genius idea for a readathon I've ever seen. Right. But it's called the Fuckathon.
That's such
I think it's already started.
Oh no.
But
Alicia, to answer your question, these prompts come from people creating, like people just create them and they just kind of pick up steam. So now we know each month is for something.
Yes, but she came up with this all by herself. I was like, this is genius. Let me see if I can find the announcement video.
It's not already going because I would have loved to participate.
I know. Hold on, I'm still trying to find. Her channel is set up very interestingly.
Just go to videos. It always shows you the most up-to-date videos.
Wow, she announced the Fuckathon a while back. Oh, here we go. Okay, so these are the prompts. It's the prompts. Fuck racism. Read a book that explores race relations. Fuck the patriarchy. Read a book that challenges patriarchal norms and behavior. Fuck ageism. Read a book that centers a well-rounded older character. Fuck heteronormativity. Read a book that is queer AF. Fuck realism. Read a fantasy book. Fuck pollution. Read literature that talks about pollution or climate change. Fuck abuse. Read a book that focuses on any form of abuse. Fuck classism. Read a book that explores class stratification and the role it plays in a character's life. Fuck ableism. Read a book with the main character that has a disability, and read the group book Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde. Tell me.
We need a group book for this too.
That is not the best.
It's a great one.
I was like, dude, how did I not know about this? I feel so out of the loop.
I have to mark it in my calendar for next year because I'm totally participating in that. That's freaking awesome. Like, I was gonna say I'm leaving a link to the POC-a-thon. Anybody that wants to participate. But that one was the Ghost Reader. Is that his name? I always forget his name, and then I watch his channel.
I really like his channel.
Me too. His name is scrolling. There's so much to do. Because I just did the Asian readathon, which was great, and I took a break. Okay, guys. Oh, okay. Ghost Reader. He has a fantastic channel on YouTube. Check him out. But he just did the POC-a-thon 2019 announcement, and that is for those prompts will be used for August. So the end of next week is the Reading Rushes prompts, and I think it's only for a week, and then the POC-a-thon is 2 weeks. I think we should probably make ours 2 weeks.
I like it.
Because, we got jobs and things.
I know. I'm mad how we're planning a whole readathon right now.
Why not? Like, that is great. And then we could also, like, at the end of the 2 weeks, we can have a live and talk about, like, what were the books that you loved rereading and then what books that you read as a child that were actually, like, true blue garbage. We could totally make a playlist too. That's great. Novelist, you are giving. Thank you for all of these input things.
Wait, what else happened?
She said that what is her name? The one that has the Fuckathon. She had
Moria.
The group book today, and she got the group book for that particular one. It's a short book, so I guess maybe the group book should be a short book.
Yes, so it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Also,
we were about to read a bunch of middle grade books, so they're all going to be rather short.
Do you remember that book, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry?
Yes.
I've been wanting to read it.
That and the purple book. From the book. It was in the same group. I Thought My Soul Would Rise and Fly.
Yes.
That's it. Yo.
It was like Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, Let the Circle Be Unbroken.
Yeah. All of those books.
Mildred D. Taylor.
We're going to have to come up with some good prompts so that we could make this readathon hilariously fun and just a fun trip down memory lane.
I agree.
Yeah. But we're actually going to have to end this live because I need to go get ready for work.
I got to go to sleep.
That too.
Oh my God, we're the Redfern Girls. Don't trigger me like this. Why would you
I missed
do that?
completely.
That is one of the saddest books I've ever read in my life. I was traumatized after reading that book. Traumatized, crying my eyes out for days. Why would you do that?
I didn't even see that comment until you pointed it out.
I'm mad.
I was laughing at Kim's comment where she was
I'm mad.
Love the Royal Diary so much, me pretending to be a Spanish princess. Look, as far as I was concerned, after reading Princess Diaries, I knew that there was going to come a time where, like, my parents were going to tell me that I was adopted, and I was actually like a long lost princess.
You were ready. You were ready for that moment. You're like, I'm waiting.
This is my life's calling. Okay, we're gonna get off now, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Oh, we were talking about, or what book are you referring to? The Red Fern Grows comment? Are you talking about?
You know what? We are no longer allowed to talk about these books. Old Yeller, Where the Red Fern Grows, or Bridge to Terabithia, because I will never recover the trauma that I experienced reading those books.
Terabithia.
It's not okay to do that to children. It's not okay. So we won't talk about those books.
No, I'm not going there with y'all tonight.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Oh no, my heart.
I can't believe you even typed those words. I'm mad. Why would you take me back there to a dark, dark time?
Sounder? Oh, I remember Sound. You know what? Why? I don't have time for you today.
Ruining lives. Now I'm gonna have to go read something really fluffy to go to sleep.
I know. I'm gonna start reading this book, Opposite of Always. I hope it's nicer than what you're trying to put my mind into. Jeez.
Wow.
Thank you guys so much for coming to my first live. Yay!
It was lit.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Lit. Bye. Bye.